Admiral Jiho Kang was drinking his morning coffee when every screen in his office turned white. Not just his office, every screen on Earth. Every phone, every monitor, every display in every home and building across the planet showed the same blinding white light. Then came the message. Jiho dropped his coffee cup. It shattered on the floor, but he did not notice. His eyes were fixed on the alien symbols that appeared on his screen. They moved and shifted. Then suddenly he could read them. The message was translating itself into every human language at once. People of Earth, you are now property of the Vrax Dominion. Surrender in 30 days. Disable all weapons. Prepare to receive your new rulers. If you refuse, your planet will be cleaned. This is your only warning. The message disappeared as quickly as it came. Jiho stood frozen for a moment, then his training kicked in. He grabbed his phone and started making calls. Within an hour, every major leader on Earth was in an emergency meeting. Dr. Hannah Park arrived at the United Earth Space Command building 3 hours later. She was a language expert, one of the best humanity had. They needed her to make sense of what just happened. She sat in a small room filled with computers and started her work. The message had been sent through quantum entanglement. That meant the aliens had technology far beyond what humans understood. They could send signals across space instantly. The message had bypassed every security system Earth had. It just appeared everywhere at once. Hannah worked through the night. She found something interesting in the message data. There were coordinates hidden in the transmission. She brought this to Captain Doyen Lee, who ran the First Contact Protocol Division. Doyen looked at the coordinates and felt his blood run cold. He knew that system. It was close to Earth, only a few light years away. It had a star and several planets. No life, but it was there. He ordered the deep space telescopes to look at those coordinates. 24 hours after the message, the star in that system exploded. It became a supernova, bright enough to see from Earth with the naked eye. The explosion was not natural. Someone had made it happen. Someone had killed a star just to prove they could. The United Earth Council met in Geneva. The room was filled with representatives from every nation. The debate was loud and angry. Some people wanted to surrender. They said humanity could not fight beings who could kill stars. Others wanted to fight. They said humans did not bow to anyone. We should wait, said one counselor. Learn more about them. Maybe we can negotiate. Negotiate, another shouted. They called us property. They destroyed an entire solar system as a threat. The arguments went on for days. Jiho sat through all of it, listening. He had asked Captain Doyen to prepare a report on the Vrax Dominion. What they found was terrifying. Doyen presented his findings to the council. His team had been scanning deep space for years, listening for alien signals. They had picked up fragments of transmissions, pieces of data floating through space. When they analyzed everything, a picture formed. The Vrax Dominion was an empire. They controlled 200 star systems. They had conquered 47 different alien species. Every species had the same story. The Vrax arrived, demanded surrender, and destroyed anyone who refused. Those who surrendered became slaves. The Vrax did not make allies. They made servants. Has anyone ever defeated them? A counselor asked. Doyen shook his head. No. Every species either surrendered or was destroyed. The Vrax have been doing this for thousands of years. The room fell silent. The weight of those words settled on everyone. They were facing an empire that had never lost. Jiho stood up. He had been quiet for 3 days, just listening. Now it was time to speak. I have heard all your arguments, he said. His voice was calm but firm. Some of you want to surrender. You think we can survive as slaves, waiting for a chance to be free someday. Others want to fight, even though the odds are against us. He walked to the center of the room. Every eye was on him. Let me tell you what I think. Humanity has been on Earth for millions of years. We started as simple creatures in Africa. We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. We were weak, but we survived. We learned. We grew. We spread across the entire planet. We built cities. We went to space. We walked on the moon. We built stations on Mars. He paused, looking at each counselor. We did all of this because we refused to give up. When nature tried to kill us with ice ages, we survived. When diseases tried to wipe us out, we survived. When we fought wars among ourselves, we survived. We are still here because humans do not quit. His voice grew stronger. The Vraks think they can scare us by killing a star. They think we will see their power and fall to our knees. But they do not know us. They do not know what humans are capable of when someone threatens our home. Jiho slammed his hand on the table. We did not crawl out of caves to kneel in the stars. We did not build everything we have just to hand it over to aliens who see us as property. If the Vraks want Earth, they will have to take it. And I promise you, we will make them pay for every inch. The room erupted. Some cheered. Some looked afraid. But the vote was called. When it was done, the decision was clear. Earth would fight. Hana was given a new task. She had to write a response to the Vraks message. It needed to be clear and strong. She worked on it for hours, trying to find the right words. Finally, she brought her draft to Jiho. He read it and shook his head. Too complicated, he said. Make it simple. Make it something they cannot misunderstand. Hana went back to work. She thought about what message would be clear to an empire that had conquered dozens of worlds. What would make them understand that Earth was different? She came back with 7 words. Jiho read them and smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of a man who knew a fight was coming and was ready for it. Send it, he said. The message went out to the Vraks Dominion through every transmitter Earth had. It was broadcast on every frequency, sent through every communication method humanity possessed. 7 simple words that would change everything. We decline. Come and take it. Across the planet, military bases began to wake up. Soldiers reported to duty. Ships in orbit powered up their weapons. Scientists in secret labs opened sealed doors to projects that had been hidden for years. Factories that had been quiet roared to life. Earth was preparing for war. The Vraks had sent a threat. Now they would learn what happens when you threaten humanity. General Siwoo Choi stood in front of a massive metal door deep inside the moon. The door had been sealed for 12 years. Behind it were secrets that only a handful of people knew existed. Now it was time to open it. The Vraks had sent observation drones into Earth's solar system. They were watching to see if humans would obey the surrender order. What they saw seemed to confirm what they expected. Humans were building more weapons, but the weapons looked primitive. Simple rockets, basic missiles, nuclear bombs. The Vraks commanders looked at the reports and laughed. Their shields could stop anything humans were building. They had fought species far more advanced than Earth. This would be easy, but the Vraks were only seeing what humans wanted them to see. The metal door on the moon slid open with a deep rumble. Siwoo walked inside, and lights flickered on automatically. The chamber was enormous, carved out of lunar rock over decades. Inside were machines and weapons that did not officially exist. Welcome to the Black Level, Siwoo said to the group of military officers behind him. What you see here stays here. What you learn here, you tell no one. Understood? Everyone nodded. They had all signed documents that promised terrible consequences if they talked. But none of that mattered now. Earth needed every advantage it could get. Siwoo walked to the first station. A scientist named Dr. Minji Yoon stood waiting. She was young but brilliant. She had been working in the Black Level for 8 years. This is Project Prometheus, Minji said. She pointed to a missile that looked normal on the outside. It looks like a regular torpedo, but inside is something special. It carries a quantum destabilization warhead. What does that mean? Asked one officer. Minji smiled. Vrak shields work by creating a field that stops objects from passing through. Our torpedo does not try to break the shield. It changes the physics inside the shield. It makes the matter unstable. The shield does not protect the ship anymore. It crushes it. The officers stared. One whispered, "How is that possible?" "We will explain later," Siwoo said. "Right now, just know that it works. We have tested it. Next station." They moved to another area. Here, rows of small missiles sat in storage racks. They looked harmless, almost like toys compared to the huge weapons around them. Project Reaper, Minji said. Each missile contains 5 trillion nanites. They are smaller than viruses. When the missile breaks open, the nanites spread out. They pass through shields like they are not even there. Once inside an enemy ship, they start eating it. Metal, electronics, fuel, everything. They reproduce using the materials they consume. One missile can destroy a ship from the inside in less than 10 minutes. An officer looked sick. That is terrifying. That is the point, Siwoo said coldly. The Vraks want to scare us. We need to scare them more. The next station showed warheads that glowed with a faint blue light. Warning symbols covered every surface. Project Hellfire, Minji said quietly. Antimatter-catalyzed fusion bombs. Each one has the power to crack a small moon. We have 300 of them. The room fell silent. Everyone knew about antimatter. It was the most powerful explosive force known to science. Fusion bombs were already devastating. Combining the two created something that could destroy entire worlds. But Siwoo was not done. He led them to the deepest part of the facility. Here, in a chamber all by itself, was something different. It was not a weapon. It was a spacecraft. Small, damaged, clearly not human. This, Siwoo said, is where it all started. 15 years ago, Earth's deep space sensors detected something entering the solar system. It was moving fast, too fast to be natural. Military ships went to investigate. What they found changed everything. It was a probe, alien, automated. It had been traveling through space for thousands of years, mapping star systems and recording information. When human ships approached, it tried to run. They caught it anyway and brought it back to the moon. The probe's memory banks were intact. Inside was a treasure of information. Star charts showing hundreds of alien civilizations. Technical specifications for faster-than-light travel. Weapon designs. And most importantly, tactical information about the major powers in the galaxy, including the Vraks Dominion. We have been studying the Vraks for 15 years, Siwoo said. We know how they fight. We know their weapons. We know their tactics. They think they are surprising us, but we have been preparing for them specifically. Minji pulled up holographic displays. They showed Vrak ships, their shields, their weapons, everything. Human scientists had spent years analyzing this data. They had built weapons designed to counter Vrak's technology. The Vraks always do the same thing, Minji explained. They arrive with overwhelming numbers. They position their fleet in geometric formations. They rely on their shields being unbreakable. They use fear to make enemies surrender before the fighting even starts. So we know their playbook, Siwoo said. They do not know ours. He activated another display. This one showed ships, sleek, dark, unlike anything in Earth's regular fleet. Project Harbinger, our stealth fleet. 30 ships built using technology we learned from the probe. The Vraks cannot detect them. Right now, as we speak, these ships are already in deep space. When the Vraks fleet arrives, our stealth ships will be waiting behind them. Commander Hyun Nam stepped forward. He was a tall man with scars on his face from a training accident years ago. He commanded the stealth fleet. My ships have been in position for 3 days, Hyun said. The Vraks do not know we are there. When the battle starts, we will be their nightmare. Siwoo looked at all the officers. Everything you have seen today is just the beginning. We have been building these weapons for over a decade. We have run thousands of simulations. We have tested every system. The Vraks think they are facing primitives with simple weapons. They are wrong. Back on Earth, Admiral Jaiho was in his office when Siwoo called. The video connection was encrypted and secure. The black level is ready, Siwoo reported. All weapons are operational. The stealth fleet is in position. We are ready for them. Jaiho nodded. Good. The Vraks fleet will arrive soon. Our sensors show them gathering at the edge of the system. How many ships? Siwoo asked. 300. Siwoo whistled. They are not playing around. Neither are we, Jaiho said. Is the message ready? Yes, sir. We can send it whenever you give the order. Jaiho thought for a moment. The Vraks had given Earth 30 days to surrender. Those 30 days were almost over. It was time to give them an answer. Send it, Jiho said. The message went out across space. It was brief, simple, clear. We decline. Come and take it. In the Vrax fleet, the Grand Admiral received the message. He read it and felt something he had not felt in a long time. Surprise, then anger, then amusement. These humans actually thought they could fight. How entertaining. It had been centuries since the Vrax had faced real resistance. This might actually be fun. Prepare the fleet for attack, the Grand Admiral ordered. Show these primitives what happens when they refuse the Dominion. The Vrax fleet began moving toward Earth. 300 massive warships, each one capable of destroying cities with a single shot. They had conquered dozens of species. They had burned worlds that refused to submit. Earth would be no different. But in the darkness of space, 30 human ships watched and waited. Their crews were ready. Their weapons were armed. And they had something the Vrax did not expect. They had hope. They had courage. And they had a plan. The Vrax were coming. Let them come. Humanity was ready. Fleet Admiral Taeyang Xin watched the Vrax armada appear on his screens. 300 ships dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system, near Neptune. Each ship was huge, dark, and terrible, covered in weapons that had destroyed countless worlds. Taeyang stood on the bridge of the battleship Seoul. Around him, his crew worked quietly and efficiently. They were scared. He could see it in their faces. But they were also ready. They had trained for this. They knew what to do. All ships, battle positions, Taeyang ordered calmly. Remember your training. Stay calm. Follow the plan. Earth's defense fleet moved into position. 150 warships spread out around Neptune's orbit. To the Vrax, it looked like a desperate defensive formation. The humans were using the ice giant's rings and moons for cover. The Vrax Grand Admiral saw this and smiled. They hide behind rocks, he said to his officers. Like animals. This will be over quickly. All ships, advance. Destroy them. The Vrax fleet moved forward in perfect geometric formations. Triangles within triangles, each ship in exact position. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. They had done this 1,000 times before. They never changed because they never needed to. Their tactics always worked. The Grand Admiral opened a communication channel that reached every human ship. Your defiance is noted, his voice boomed. Your extinction is scheduled. Prepare to die. Then the Vrax opened fire. Particle beams lanced across space. These weapons could cut asteroids in half. They could melt mountains. When they hit Neptune's rings, ice and rock vaporized instantly. The human ships scattered, breaking formation, running for cover. They panic already, the Grand Admiral said with satisfaction. As expected. But Taeyang was not panicking. This was all part of the plan. Now, he said quietly. Captain Yuna Kim was waiting for that word. She commanded 200 fighter craft hidden in Neptune's upper atmosphere. The massive planet had protected them from Vrax sensors. Now it was time to strike. All wings, launch! Yuna shouted. Go, go, go! The fighters erupted from Neptune's clouds like angry hornets. They accelerated impossibly fast, far faster than the Vrax expected. The Vrax point defense systems tried to track them but could not keep up. These were not normal human fighters. They had quantum drives hidden inside conventional hulls. The fighters swarmed through the Vrax formation. Vrax ships tried to shoot them down, but the fighters were too fast, too agile. They wove between the massive warships like leaves in a storm. Deploy Reaper missiles, Yuna ordered. The missiles launched. They were small, almost insignificant compared to the massive Vrax ships. The Vrax shields activated automatically. The missiles hit the shields and broke apart. The Vrax officers laughed. These primitive weapons could not even penetrate their defenses. Then the screaming started. The missiles had broken apart exactly as designed. Each one released 5 trillion nanites. The tiny machines passed through the Vrax shields like they were not even there. Shields stopped matter and energy, but these were smaller than viruses. The shields could not detect them. The nanites landed on the Vrax ship hulls and began eating. Metal dissolved. Electronics failed. Fuel lines ruptured. The nanites consumed everything and used the materials to make more nanites. Inside the Vrax ships, crew members watched in horror as their own vessels began to dissolve around them. "What is happening?" the Grand Admiral shouted. "Shields are active. How are they doing this?" 10 Vrax ships began to fall apart from the inside. 15. 20. The neat geometric formations broke as ships tried to escape the invisible threat. "All ships, reverse thrust," the Grand Admiral ordered. "Fall back to safe distance." But Taeyong was not done. "Tactical Officer Park," he said, "fire Prometheus torpedoes." Tactical Officer Junho Park had been waiting for this moment. He sat at the weapons console of the Soul, his hands steady despite the chaos outside. He targeted the largest Vrax ships and pressed the firing button. 20 quantum destabilization torpedoes launched from the human fleet. They were not fast. The Vrax point defense systems shot down 5 of them easily. The other 15 hit Vrax shields and seemed to stop. Then physics inside the shields went wrong. The torpedoes did not carry explosives. They carried devices that changed the rules of reality in a small area. Inside the Vrax shields, matter became unstable. Atoms vibrated at impossible frequencies. The shields that were supposed to protect the ships suddenly became prisons. The affected Vrax ships imploded. They did not explode outward. They collapsed inward, crushed by their own shields. It happened in seconds. 15 massive warships crumpled like paper, crushed into balls of twisted metal and screaming crew. The Vrax fleet was in complete chaos now. They had lost 35 ships in less than 10 minutes. Nothing like this had ever happened before. These humans were not fighting like primitives. They were fighting like demons. "Activate the gravitational weapon," the Grand Admiral screamed. "Crush their planet." A massive Vrax dreadnought at the center of the fleet began to glow, power built up in its core. This was their ultimate weapon, a gravitational compression cannon that could collapse entire planets into black holes. It took time to charge, but once fired, nothing could stop it. Taeyang saw the energy readings and felt ice in his stomach. He had known the Vrax had this weapon. The captured probe had warned them. But seeing it charge up was different from reading about it. "Hyun," Taeyang said quietly into a secure channel. "Now would be good." Commander Hyun Nam had been waiting in the darkness for 3 days. His 30 stealth ships had been positioned behind the Vrax fleet since before the battle started. The Vrax had never detected them. Now, they were exactly where they needed to be. "All ships," Hyun said calmly. "Decloak. Fire everything." The stealth ships appeared on Vrax sensors all at once. 30 ships right behind them, almost touching. The Vrax had no time to react. The stealth ships fired Hellfire antimatter warheads at point-blank range. The explosions were so bright they lit up Neptune's entire hemisphere. Antimatter met matter and released energy that made nuclear bombs look like firecrackers. The blasts were perfectly targeted. They hit the Vrax ships before their shields could even activate. 40 Vrax capital ships simply ceased to exist. The gravitational weapon ship was one of them. Instead of firing its terrible weapon, it exploded, taking 5 more Vrax ships with it in the blast. The Vrax Grand Admiral stared at his displays in disbelief. He had started with 300 ships. Now, he had barely 200 left. The humans were winning. Humans. How was this possible? "Full retreat," he ordered. "All ships. Activate faster than light drives. We leave now." The Vrax fleet tried to run. Ships turned away from Earth, preparing to jump to light speed and escape. But they found they could not. Their drives would not activate. Something was wrong with space itself. "What is happening?" the Grand Admiral demanded. "Why can we not jump?" Dr. Minji Yoon smiled in her control room deep in the moon base. She had one more surprise for the Vrax. Project Harbinger's final component. Gravity well generators placed throughout the solar system activated all at once. They anchored space-time itself, making faster-than-light travel impossible. The Vrax were trapped. "They cannot run," Minji said with satisfaction. "Finish them." The battle became a slaughter. The human fleet closed in on the trapped Virax ships. Fighters swarmed them. Torpedoes destroyed them. The Virax fought back desperately, but their formations were broken, their tactics useless. They had never trained for this kind of fight. 2 hours later, it was over. Of the 300 Virax ships that had arrived, only 27 managed to escape when the gravity wells cycled down for maintenance. The rest were destroyed or drifting wrecks. Earth's fleet had lost 14 ships. 3,000 people were dead, but they had won. Taiyang sat in his chair, exhausted. Around him, his crew was cheering, crying, hugging each other. They had survived. They had won the first battle. But Taiyang knew this was just the beginning. The Virax Empire had thousands of ships. They would come back. This victory would make them angry, make them desperate. The war had just started. But Earth had sent a message. The Virax thought humans would be easy prey. They were wrong. Humanity knew how to fight, and they would not stop until the Virax threat was gone forever. The United Earth Council met again in Geneva, but the mood was different now. Before, there had been fear and doubt. Now there was fierce debate. Earth had won the first battle, but what came next? We should fortify our defenses, one counselor argued. The Virax will return with more ships. We need to be ready. No, Admiral Jiho said firmly. If we wait, we die. The Virax have thousands of ships across 200 systems. They will come back with everything they have. Our only chance is to attack first. The room erupted in shocked voices. Attack? Attack them? A counselor asked. Are you insane? We barely survived one battle. Jiho walked to the center of the room. His uniform still had scorch marks from being on a ship during the Neptune battle. He had earned the right to speak. Listen to me, he said. The Virax Empire is big, but it is weak. They rule 47 species through fear. Those species are slaves, not allies. They hate the Virax. They are waiting for any sign of weakness. He activated a holographic display showing the Virax Empire. We destroyed almost 300 Virax ships. The survivors ran home and told everyone what happened. Right now, the Virax are scared. Every conquered species in their empire heard that humans fought back and won. If we attack now, while they are afraid, we can start a revolution. Intelligence officer Minho Jiang stepped forward. He had been studying the data from the captured probe for years. He knew more about Virax society than anyone. The Admiral is right, Minho said. The Virax Empire is like a house of cards. It only stands because everyone believes it cannot fall. We knocked it. Now we need to push it over completely. The vote was close, but it passed. Earth would go on the offensive. Captain Erin Seo stood on the bridge of her ship, the Incheon. She commanded a strike group of 30 vessels. Their mission was to attack Virax outpost Krell 9, a fortress system that guarded the approach to Virax core territory. Everyone ready? Erin asked her crew. They nodded. They were young, most of them. This was their first mission into enemy space. But they had trained hard, and they were ready. The fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed and disappeared from Earth space. When they came out 3 days later, they were deep in Virax territory. Krell 9 was a nightmare. The system had 3 planets, all turned into military bases. Orbital platforms bristled with weapons. Minefields filled the space between worlds. And sitting in the center was a Virax battle station the size of a small moon. That is terrifying, Erin's tactical officer said quietly. That is our target, Erin replied. Remember the plan. We do not fight like they expect. We fight like humans. Instead of attacking directly, the human fleet scattered. Ships broke into small groups and began hit-and-run attacks on the outer defenses. They would strike a target, destroy it, and run before the Virax could respond. Then they would attack somewhere else. The Virax garrison was confused. Where was the main attack? Why were the humans everywhere at once? They tried to gather their ships to defend key positions, but the humans just attacked undefended areas instead. While the Virax chased shadows, Erin broadcast a message on all frequencies. It was footage from the Neptune battle, showing Virax ships burning and exploding. She added a simple message in multiple alien languages. The Vraks told you they were unbeatable. They lied. Join us and be free. The effect was instant. On the 3 planets below, enslaved alien workers heard the message. They saw Vrak ships burning. They saw proof that the Empire could be defeated. Riots started on the first planet within an hour, then the second, then the third. The Vrak's garrison had to split their forces to control the uprisings. That was exactly what Aaron wanted. Now, she said, hit them hard. The human fleet regrouped and struck the battle station directly. With most of the Vrak ships dealing with planetary uprisings, the station was poorly defended. The battle was fierce but short. Human fighters swarmed the station. Torpedoes tore through its defenses. 3 hours later, the station was a burning wreck. Krell 9 had fallen. The gateway to Vrak's core territory was open. Admiral Jiho arrived a week later with a larger fleet. With him came something new. Diplomats. Not human diplomats. Aliens. The species that Earth had freed from Krell 9. We have 2 choices, Jiho told the freed aliens. You can go home and rebuild, or you can join us and help free others. Every single one chose to join the fight. The Alliance fleet grew. As they freed more worlds, more species joined. Each one brought knowledge about the Vraks, battle tactics, ship designs, weak points in the Empire's defenses. The snowball was rolling downhill, getting bigger and faster. But the Vraks were desperate now. Their empire was crumbling. They made a terrible decision. 3 colony worlds had been freed by the Alliance. The Vraks' high command decided to make an example. If they could not control those worlds, nobody would have them. Virus bombs fell from orbit. Biological weapons designed to kill every living thing. 3 worlds, billions of people, all dead within days. The news reached Jiho while he was planning the next attack. He read the report and felt sick. This was genocide. The Vraks were willing to kill their own subjects rather than lose them. They are monsters, Minho said quietly. Yes, Jiho agreed, which is why we cannot stop. Every day we wait, they might kill another world. We need to end this. Intelligence found the Vraks' extermination fleet before it could reach a 4th world. Captain Aaron's strike group was closest. She pushed her ships to maximum speed to intercept. The battle happened in orbit of a planet called Tellus 4. 2 million aliens lived below, waiting to be freed. The Vraks' fleet above carried enough virus bombs to kill them all. Aaron's fleet was outnumbered 3 to 1. She did not care. Those people below deserved to live. All ships, attack formation, she ordered. We stop them here, no matter what. The fight was brutal. Ships fought at close range, almost touching. Explosions lit up the space. Aaron's flagship, the Incheon, took hit after hit. Hull breaches, systems failing, life support damaged. Captain, we need to retreat, her second officer shouted over the alarms. No, Aaron yelled back. Those virus bombs do not reach that planet. Hold the line. The Incheon took another hit. Critical damage. The ship was dying. Aaron ordered the evacuation. Get to the escape pods, she told her crew. I will stay and... With respect, Captain, shut up, her tactical officer said. He pushed her toward the escape pod. We did not come this far to let you die stupidly. Get in the pod. That is an order from your crew. Aaron wanted to argue, but explosions rocked the ship. Her crew literally threw her into an escape pod and launched it. Through the small window, she watched her ship, her beautiful Incheon, die fighting. But reinforcements arrived just in time. Admiral Jiho's main fleet dropped out of faster-than-light speed and crashed into the Vraks formation. The tide turned. The Vraks' extermination fleet was destroyed completely. Tellus 4 was saved. 2 million people lived because Aaron and her crew had held the line just long enough. Aaron floated in her escape pod, crying. Her ship was gone. 60 crew members were dead. But they had won. They had saved those people below. When she was rescued, Jiho himself came to see her in the medical bay. Your crew told me what happened, Jiho said. You held them off long enough for us to arrive. Those 2 million people below are alive because of you. My ship is gone, Aaron said quietly. My crew is dead. I know, Jiho said. And I am sorry. War is terrible. But what you did matters. Every person we save matters. The Vraks want us to think individual lives do not count. They are wrong. Every life counts. That is why we fight. He put a hand on her shoulder. Your crew died heroes. They will be remembered. But we need you, Captain. There are more worlds to free. More people to save. Will you fight with us? Aaron looked at him. Then she nodded. Give me a new ship, she said. We are not done yet. The war continued. The alliance grew stronger. The Vraks' empire grew weaker. World after world fell to the rebellion. But the Vraks still had one stronghold. Their homeworld. Vrax Prime. And Admiral Jiho knew that final battle was coming soon. 2 years had passed since the Vraks sent their threat to Earth. 2 years of war across dozens of star systems. Now the Allied fleet, thousands of ships from 40 different species, hung in space around Vrax Prime. Admiral Jiho stood on the bridge of his flagship and looked at the Vraks homeworld. It was beautiful. Blue oceans, green continents, white clouds. It looked peaceful. But sensors told a different story. Orbital defense platforms surrounded the planet like a metal shell. Thousands of automated defense drones patrolled the space. Minefields filled every approach route. And covering the entire planet was a shield powered by the planet's own core. Nothing could get through that shield. Not bombs, not missiles, nothing. It is a fortress, Captain Doyen said quietly. He stood next to Jiho, looking at the tactical displays. It is a prison, Jiho replied. They built all this because they are afraid. Good. They should be. He opened a communication channel to Vrax Prime. His message would reach every person on the planet. People of Vrax Prime, this is Admiral Jiho Kang of Earth. Your empire is gone. 47 worlds are free. Your fleet is destroyed. You have one choice. Surrender now. Face trial for your crimes. Or die here. You have 1 hour to decide. Deep inside the Vrax government complex, Supreme Overlord Karvesh listened to the message. He was old, ancient by Vrax standards. He had ruled for 300 years. He had personally ordered the destruction of 20 species. The thought of surrender made him sick. Never, he said to his council. The Vraks do not kneel. We do not beg. If we must die, we die as conquerors. But Supreme Overlord, one counselor said carefully, our people, the civilians, they are afraid. They want to live. Karvesh's eyes were cold. They will die with honor. Activate the Star Killer. His counselors looked shocked. The Star Killer was a doomsday weapon buried deep in Vrax Prime's core. If activated, it would destabilize the system's sun, causing it to go supernova. Everything within 10 light years would be destroyed, including Vrax Prime itself. Supreme Overlord, that will kill everyone, a counselor protested. Better death than surrender to inferior beings, Karvesh said calmly. We will not give them the satisfaction of victory. Activate it. Now. On Earth's flagship, alarms started screaming. Dr. Hannah Park, who had come with the fleet as a diplomatic advisor, stared at her screens in horror. Jiho, she said urgently. They are activating something big. Energy readings off the scale. It is coming from the planet's core. Jiho's blood ran cold. The captured probe data had mentioned a Vrax doomsday weapon, but they had hoped it was just a rumor. They are going to blow up their own sun, he said quietly. They would rather kill everyone than surrender. Can we stop it? Hannah asked. Not from here. Someone would need to get inside the planetary shield and shut it down manually. He grabbed the communication system. All ships listen carefully. The Vraks are activating a Star Killer weapon. If it completes, this entire system is destroyed. We need volunteers for a ground assault. This is suicide. I will not order anyone to go, but we need heroes right now. Captain Doyen stepped forward immediately. I will go. I will go, Captain Aaron said from her new ship. I will go, said Commander Hyun. Volunteers flooded in from every ship in the fleet, humans and aliens from dozens of species, all willing to die to stop the Vraks from taking everyone with them. While they prepared, Dr. Hannah had an idea. She opened a communication channel, not to the Vrax government, but to the entire planet, broadcasting on every frequency, bypassing all controls. People of Vrax Prime, she said, my name is Dr. Hana Park of Earth. I know you are afraid. I know your government has told you we are monsters. But let me tell you something they never did. She displayed images from the captured probe. Ancient Vrax history from before the Empire. 50,000 years ago, your people were not conquerors. You were victims. Another empire invaded your world. They enslaved you, tortured you, made you suffer. You hated them. The images showed Vrax ancestors in chains, suffering under alien masters. Eventually, you broke free. You fought back. You won. But then something terrible happened. You became what you hated. You started conquering others. You became the monsters that once hurt you. More images. Vrax ships destroying worlds, enslaving species. The same cruelty that had once been done to them. Your government right now is trying to kill everyone on your planet rather than face justice. They would rather you all die than admit they were wrong. Is that what you want? To die for leaders who see you as disposable? On Vrax Prime, billions of people watched. Many had never seen these images. Never knew their own history. The government had hidden it all. Riots began in the streets. Vrax citizens stormed government buildings. They were tired of war, tired of being ruled by fear. They wanted to live, but Karvesh did not care. He pressed the activation button himself. The Starkiller was armed. In 30 minutes, the sun would explode. Captain Doyen led a strike team of 50 soldiers. They used the chaos on Vrax Prime to slip through the planetary shield in small dropships. They landed near the capital city and fought their way toward the government complex. Automated defenses and loyalist guards tried to stop them. Doyen's team fought building by building, street by street. People died, but they pushed forward. How much time? Doyen asked as they breached the government complex. 15 minutes, his technical specialist answered. They ran through the halls. More guards, more fighting. Doyen took a shot to the shoulder but kept moving. They had to shut down the weapon. They found the control room. The door was sealed, reinforced. It would take time to break through. We do not have time, Doyen said. He looked at his explosives expert. Blow it. The explosion was massive. It killed 3 of his soldiers, but the door was open. Inside, Karvesh waited with a weapon. He shot 2 more soldiers before Doyen could get close. Then they fought hand to hand. Karvesh was old but strong, enhanced with Vrax military augments. But Doyen was desperate. While they fought, his technical specialist reached the controls. I cannot shut it down, she shouted. I can only overload it. It will explode but not trigger the sun. Do it, Doyen yelled, dodging another attack from Karvesh. She pressed the override. Alarms screamed. The weapon's containment began to fail. It will explode in 60 seconds, she said. We need to leave. Go, Doyen ordered his team. Get out now. They ran. Doyen tackled Karvesh, holding him down. The old Vrax leader struggled. Let me go, Karvesh screamed. You cannot win. The Vrax are eternal. Doyen looked at him with pity. The Vrax were victims once. You forgot that. You became what you hated. That is the real tragedy. He got up and ran, leaving Karvesh screaming in the control room. Doyen almost made it out. He was 10 meters from the exit when the weapon exploded. The blast was contained underground, but the shockwave still caught him. It threw him through a wall. He felt bones break. Everything went dark. He woke up in a medical bay on one of the Alliance ships. Dr. Hana stood over him, smiling. You did it, she said. You saved everyone. Karvesh? Doyen asked. Dead. The explosion killed him and destroyed the government complex. The war is over. Doyen closed his eyes. It was finally over. The Vrax government had collapsed. Without Karvesh and the High Council, the military command surrendered. Vrax Prime joined the Alliance. But there was much work to do. Admiral Jiho addressed the first meeting of the new Interstellar Council. Representatives from every freed species sat together. even reformed Vraks, who had helped in the revolution. We fought this war for 2 years, Jiho said. Millions died. Worlds burned. But we won. Not because we had better weapons. We won because we remembered something the Dominion forgot. He looked around the room at all the different faces. Humans. Aliens. Former enemies, now allies. We won because we believe that freedom matters. That every person, every species, has the right to stand in the stars and say, I am here and I matter. The Vraks forgot this. They became what they once hated. We must never make that mistake. The Council voted to help rebuild the Vraks worlds, to integrate them into the Alliance as equals. Some people were angry, they wanted revenge. But Jiho argued for mercy. Revenge creates more monsters, he said. We break the cycle here. We show that being strong does not mean being cruel. 1 year later, Dr. Hana stood in front of Earth's war memorial. The wall was covered with names. Every human and allied soldier who had died in the war. Thousands of names. Too many. A group of young Vrak students was visiting Earth, learning about the war from the human perspective. One approached Hana shyly. Dr. Park, the young Vrak said in careful English, why did humans fight so hard? You could have hidden, waited, survived. Hana smiled, though her eyes were sad. She thought about Jiho, about Aaron, about Doyen, and all the others who had risked everything. Because humanity learned something long ago, she said. Some things are worth more than survival. Dignity, freedom, the right to live without fear. When the Vrak sent their threat to Earth, they thought we would be scared, and we were scared, but we were also angry. She touched the memorial wall gently. We sent them a message that even flames could not burn. We said no. We said you cannot break people who refuse to bow. We said every life matters, every species deserves freedom. That message cost us dearly, but it was worth it. The young Vrak students looked at the names on the wall, learning, remembering, promising to never forget. The war was over, the galaxy was free, and humanity had proven that even the smallest, weakest species could change everything if they had the courage to stand up and fight.